Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing, your pop culture podcast that says, hey, look at that thing. I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth Stanton, and with me is my other host.
Mack, what's up, guys?
He's headbanging for a second.
I'm always trying to do like a different dance for every show. I want to do something different, mix it up for the audience.
Did you
That
know?
way they know that they're not watching repeat episodes. So I know I've definitely repeated outfits, so I don't want them to think
yeah,
like,
I've
shit,
absolutely worn this. This is like, you can't see it, but this is like one of my rattier. This is like my home shirt, like my ratty home shirt, as in like below where you can't, it's cut off, absolutely stained with food. But that's okay.
We love it. We love the honesty. I like it.
Yeah, this is like from Target from like ages ago. It's all good. So see, I think it's funny when you watch the episodes. You could tell like days we did it where I like came from work and I like maybe look a little nicer, and days I didn't have to work and I'm like, hi, welcome to the podcast. Like a fucking goblin.
Wait, why do you why do you why do you have like a smoker's raspy voice when you
because I haven't
don't work?
Because I haven't talked to anyone all day because I've just been home. Unless you count the cat, which no one does. So I count the cat, but no one else does.
You can be counted, he at least understands you. He may not be able to speak back, but he at least understands you.
Yeah.
That's my pets.
He comprehends because when I go, Bubsy, no, sometimes he'll be like, oh, my bad. Also, my other problem today is I don't know if you can hear it on the mic, and hopefully you can't. The neighbors, not in my building, but like the next building over, have been grinding metal for hours. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're doing it. Yeah. But it was so bad earlier. I was trying to write up something for work. I ended up, and I was like, don't usually turn the TV on. Like I might put music on. I turned on the TV to like old ER episodes to kind of try to like cancel out the noise because it was doing my head in, as the Brits would say. It was. That's funny, and it just picked up again, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
No, well, the great thing is put your fears to rest because I don't hear anything.
Excellent. And that means you, the listener, doesn't either.
Hopefully. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, take mine with a grain of salt because I am half deaf from, my time in the military. So I may not hear the sounds that somebody else may hear. I have to hear like big, bold sounds, not like little intrinsic. But I understand also where you're going through because they're like working on, I don't know, something in the foundation or something in my building, like one of the parking areas. So they've been jackhammering and nailing and grinding as well. So I know exactly what you mean.
But we're not here to talk about any of that. We're here to talk about Sex in the City.
Zero transition. It
was a transition.
That was not a transition.
That was a smooth one. Wasn't a smooth one, but it was a transition.
Okay, abrupt. It was an abrupt transition. It was very, very abrupt.
But yes, we're not here to talk about any of that stuff at our audio business. We are here to talk about Sex in the City, rewatching it from start to finish. I've watched it a bajillion times. Chris has not ever really seen it. And we're on season 6, episode 10, Boy Interrupted.
Correct. And now, people, if you're made it this far, why don't you go ahead and hit that like button because you've already gotten at least 5 minutes in, so you're already in. So go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're feeling so kind, if you enjoy the rest of the show, hit that subscribe button while you're there. You know what I mean? It's right next. They're right next to each other. It ain't that not crazy.
You will not strain your wrist. You will be all good. Excuse me.
The rest is all it is. Right to the right.
So yeah, this episode is definitely one that's been played on cable. It's pretty tame. Another very, hey, are you getting the theme? Are you getting the theme, Chris? Do you get the metaphors?
I got the
it's
theme.
about
It's
high
very,
school. It's about high
high
school.
Yeah.
It's high school. It's high school. Do you get it?
Yeah, no, I didn't get that. Yeah,
I'm worried you didn't get it.
No, I didn't get that first. The prom didn't give it away.
Mm-hmm.
The wall of mailboxes that look like lockers didn't give it away for
No,
Miranda
not.
and the doc
Ooh,
scene.
good observation. I did not think of that. I like that. Smart.
Yeah,
Smart.
it was
I like it.
Yeah, it was definitely like a high school hallway. It looked honestly like more like a locker room than a high school hallway, in my opinion. But still themes, still high
Still
school
on
themes.
point.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, so this is Carrie's high school sweetheart comes back. Miranda competes with a cheerleader. There's gossip.
Ish.
Yeah. So who?
Oh yeah, rumors. Yeah, rumors are spread.
Rumors are
Somebody's
spread.
trying to pretend to be cool when they're not.
It all comes. Yeah, exactly. It all comes together at prom. Well, not all comes together, but it ends with a prom.
That's at least ends with a prom, like a very like much high school type movie. It's like, oh, everything is centered around going to prom.
Yeah. So who would you like to maybe start with?
Well, it seems that Charlotte doesn't really have a story in this
She's kind of caught up in Stanford's story. We actually get like a Stanford story this time.
Well, it's kind of like, the last episode with Samantha. She's like kind of, she was just kind of like put in with Carrie's story, but she didn't really have her own. And Charlotte doesn't in this episode.
Yeah.
So
I just hope Harry's wearing underpants at home now. We never do get the conclusion on that.
Yeah, no. He did say that he would start wearing the shorts. So
I want the visual evidence. I want the confirmation. I need it.
You didn't get
I need that closure.
Evidence last episode? I got enough. I got all the visual evidence I needed after last episode. I don't need any
full moon view that night. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm good. I saw enough. There's a lot of man butt on that last episode, so I'm good. I can take a break. Yeah.
So you gotta maybe do Charlotte, Stanford, Anthony. You want to wait? I'm just trying to fill the air while you think.
No, I think no, because here's the thing. We got to go with Samantha's story because it's like the least juicy, and then
okay. Oh yeah.
No, I'm wrong. I take it back. Let's start with that story. We hit Samantha's story, then we go Miranda, and then we ended up with the Carrie episode,
the prom queen.
Or we can always switch it up and do Carrie and then Miranda because Miranda's story is a little bit more juicy to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start with Samantha and see how we go. So it's summer in the city, baby. It's August.
Finally, too, right? Because mostly what we've been getting is like spring, like one episode, but it was like winter-ish. It was like cold,
Yeah.
So this is only the second time we see a new season that's not spring.
Yeah, I mean they've done Hampton stuff before, and so it's always sort of spring into summer, and that's about it. You don't really get a lot of fall. Really, the only kind of truly fall feeling episode I feel like is the I Love New York one where she bids farewell to Big, and it sort of was their kind of post 9/11 tribute episode without intending it to be
right
without intending it to be that. It's like one other one.
We had like a winter. We had a winter when she was dating a politician.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's always usually spring or summer, pretty much. But it's summer. Right. It's hot in New York, as you might expect, and Samantha is suffering, walking down the street, and she bumps into her friend Phoebe, who is played by Jerry fucking Halliwell from the Spice Girls.
Ginger Spice. That's why I was like, why do I know this woman? Got it. That makes sense now. Thank you. Because I was really racking my brain. I didn't even think to go look on IMDb, but yeah, that makes all the sense now.
Yep, I love it. I love the Spice Girls. Obviously,
she was like kind of like the I wouldn't say I would say I feel like low key favorite of most people that like Spice Girls. Like she was kind of like the secret crush that everybody had in a sense
I
of
feel like
like
a lot of dudes liked her. I mean, she had some boobs, like, and wore those like micro dresses, you know.
No, but I mean even women that were fans of the Spice
Yeah,
Girls.
I mean
Like
she
she
was
was kind
like
of like the
a
low
cool,
key choice.
she's like the cool, outspoken one that was like big on the girl power. I mean, they all obviously said the girl power stuff, but she was kind of like legit vocal about it.
Okay.
But and yeah, and I think I was more of like probably like a Baby Spice / maybe Ginger Spice. I'm not like that feisty. Definitely not Sporty Spice. Not Scary Spice. And then I only appreciated Posh Spice, I think, as an adult. But I like Posh. I love Posh Spice. I love Spice World, the movie. It's so great. It's so campy, silly, goofy, funny. Like, and I think people didn't get that it was meant, like, people are like, it's so stupid. All the stuff that happens in the movie is ridiculous. Yeah, it was supposed to be, man. It was supposed to be a borderline cartoon, silly.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of like, you reminded it also to me like the Spice, like I like Spice World the movie, and also reminds me of did you ever see the movie Josie and the Pussycat?
Yeah, it's totally on that level. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I enjoyed that movie. So like yeah, it was supposed to be a fun, wacky, just like because you know what I mean, like how are you gonna make a movie about the Spice Girls without it being wacky? Like it has to have some kind of element for
yeah, what you wanted a heart.
Yeah, like it was gonna be like a graphical Spice Girls movie. Come on. Now here's the thing: if that movie were to come out now, it would totally be a biographical, you know, like drama-filled movie.
Yeah,
it would definitely. But we weren't in that era at this time. This was, you know, fun. Shit was fun. Everything was fun. Early 2000s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean it does have. I definitely appreciate like Posh Spice. Victoria Beckham is so low key funny in it. Like she's a great kind of deadpan straight woman for a lot of stuff. Yeah. And she has like one of my favorite bits in the whole movie is they're like visiting like a kid in the hospital and they're like, and the kid's in a coma and and they're all like, hey, hey Malcolm, it's Sporty Spice. Hey, it's Jerry. And she goes, and I'm Victoria Malcolm. Like yells in the kid's face. And they're like, what are you doing? And she's like, trying to wake him up. It's like so funny. And then my other favorite gag in the movie actually isn't with the girls so much, but there's this running bit of George Wendt from Cheers, Mark McKinney from Kids in the Hall, who are like movie pitch guys who are pitching movie ideas to their manager, the wonderful Richard E. Grant. He's like so delightful. I just love him to death. And he's great in it. So they've been pitching movies to him all movie. And then at the end, they're pitching basically the like goofy bus chase that's happening, you know, in real time, so to speak. And you know, they're describing everything that's happening, and it's all very meta and goofy. And then they conclude with like, and they pull up to the theater, run up the steps, and come through that door to make it to the show in time. And then they don't right at that moment, and the manager just goes, "You lied," and starts to choke the guy because he's so mad. It's so funny. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. But yeah, there's really, it's so funny that Jerry's in this like literal one scene of the show. She never shows up again. I don't know what I think this is when they'd all gone solo by this time. She had a solo hit called Look at Me that I actually really enjoyed. I would have loved more of a solo Jerry Spice career. But I didn't. I mean, I think she did. I think they all did in the UK. Sorry?
She was the first one to leave, right?
Yes, she was. Yeah. And if I recall the documentary that I absolutely watched multiple times.
I think you being facetious, you actually watched it.
No, I watched it. I watched it at like sort of low key at where actually when it was like the London Olympics, my friend and I like while we were supposed to be working at work, we're like, because we had like kind of like a droney job at the time, we were both kind of like watching it on YouTube, this like 6-part documentary on YouTube while we were working. And part of it, there was like, you know, clashing obviously of our personalities and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things they leveled against Jerry was she wasn't that good a dancer. So they wanted to do like more complex dance stuff, and like she couldn't keep up, so like they had to keep it simple, and like they didn't like that. But I forget, there's other reasons that she left besides
well, I mean, yeah, because
that.
this was that era of like the NSYNCs and stuff like that. So the dance moves were getting, it had to be more flashy. You know, this is like, you know, yeah, for sure, absolutely,
yeah. But yeah, she's literally in this one scene. Sorry, huge Spice Girls Spice World tangent. We opened the spice can of worms on that, and I have no regrets. We're pre-recording these episodes, and we're like almost to our winter break in the past when we pre-recorded this, and I think we're getting silly again.
Oh man, like that you're talking time travel when you hate time travel. This is amazing.
And I hate time travel.
I know.
But anyway, back to the show at hand. Yeah, Jerry Halliwell's in this literal one scene, and she tells Samantha, she's like, "Oh, it's just at the pool at Soho House, which is like some exclusive, club place with a rooftop pool." And she's like, "It's so fabulous, you just have to go." And Samantha, of course, is like, "Oh, I'm already a member, of course. Thank you for reminding me. I would go, but I have a meeting." Ha ha ha. And then she finds out she's actually on the wait list for them. She's pissed.
And that throws me, not throws me, I'm gonna say throws me up, but I find that very surprising that a person like Samantha, who's been in PR for as long as she has, and who has worked with like, the people that she's been around, you know what I mean? Because she at this point, like pretty much since the start of the show, she's always, since the start of the show, she was in like the fat circle. So it's like, how long is this waiting list? Because you would think somebody like Samantha would already be a member.
And like it's weird, like she doesn't even know that the pool is there. Maybe she knew about the club, but just not that it had a pool. It is a little strange.
It's strange for her to be in that circle, like to know that information.
Yeah. But she's trying to get the membership. She goes to the front desk, and they're like, "Oh, we're not admitting new members," because she's been on the wait list since like June, and it's August. And she's like, she even tries the "Do you know who I am?" thing, and they're like, "We don't care," and we don't, and we don't care.
Right? Yeah. In that kind of setting, it's like, dude, we like literally celebrities come in here, like you're not gonna. Yeah, you're not gonna work. Your PR, like, sure, you're famous, you're well known in the Manhattan circles, sure, but fucking Alec Baldwin comes in here and fucking gets a massage every week.
What a random choice you made there.
I'm just thinking New York. He's like a famous guy in New York.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
He would have not shot somebody by this time.
Right, and that's what too. Like, if we think about it, like come on, you telling me that Alec Baldwin wouldn't be a member of Soho House?
Yeah. Punching his way through there.
He probably is right now, currently. You know what I mean?
He's like, "Why did I have 8 kids with my fake Spanish wife?"
Also, we find out that, I'm sure the membership is a lot more expensive now than it was then, but $900 a month, that is a lot of bread.
Oh, I thought they said year? No, but you're right. There's no way it's a
month.
I think they say month later. But we're jumping slightly ahead, because at the front desk.
I'm just saying we find out later that that's how much it is, and that's just like wild to me.
Yeah, because they she's like, "Well, can I at least use your restroom before I go?" And they're like, "Of course." And so she does, and then as she's leaving, the maid is like, "Oh, ma'am, you left your card," and she's like, "Oh, I did. Thank you." And it's for someone called Annabelle Bronstein.
Well, here's the thing. I want to say this before we move forward. Listen, I understand where it comes from, and I understand why you say it, and I understand everything because that's just what it is. But I hate when bathrooms are referred to as wash closets.
Oh, water WC. Closet? Yeah, the WC water closet. It's a British thing.
It does. I know that's where it comes from. And I know in a sense it does make it sound classier than, restroom or bathroom and stuff like that. But it's like, take it down, okay? We're all, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a place you go and shit, okay? Take it. There's nothing classy about a place that you literally go and take a shit in, okay? Like, it's like, if it was just like a place where you, go splash some water in your face and redo your makeup and that was all that was in there,
That's a
fine.
powder room.
That's a toilet. That's a powder room. Correct. Powder room, sophisticated. But if it has a toilet, sorry, it's not classy anymore because there's nothing classy about relieving yourself of bodily fluids. Just that's all I'm saying.
But I appreciate Samantha's clever. She has the rather than like invite the girls over right away to like go to the pool, she takes the card for a test drive, make sure she can pull the heist off and get in with it, which is so smart. And she succeeds. She's like in the pool and like a waiter comes by and asks for her drink and she's like, yeah, but I'm gonna pay cash because that way the charges won't show up on the card. Smart. Love it. So pardon?
Also respectful. I say also respectful.
Yeah.
She's not just like charging a bunch of money to somebody else's account and then like, going away because, that'd be rude. I mean, I think most people would try that. They're like, oh, I'm already impersonating the person. Might as well get shit free on their dime,
Well, as they say, never commit 2 crimes at the same time. Like
that's true. Like that definitely would have probably got her more discovered because she orders, some expensive drinks. I mean, because I imagine in a place like that, whatever you're buying is probably at least standard. Like the basic rate is probably like $20.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean? So you get like 2 or 3 of those. That's $60. Maybe she won't notice. Maybe she will. But also, rich people are notoriously known for being mad cheap. So that little $20 being charged, she'd probably be calling and be like, "Why are there $20?
Like, why is there an extra $20?"
Yeah. Like, where is that coming from?
So later they're all at the pool, all the girls and Stanford and everything. And after a confrontation with Stanford, which we'll get to, a waiter comes up to Samantha and he's like, "Who's Annabelle?" And she's like, "Oh, I am." And he's like, "You're not. The real Annabelle is in London." And she's like, "Oh, well, I changed my mind." And he goes, "And she's British." And then she puts on this like really embarrassing like fake accent and is like, referring to the telly.
It was decent. Well, it was decent. You could definitely tell that she obviously picked up this accent from like a cheesy British show or just like from TV in general because it wasn't like a great accent. It was very
she actually was born
of an impression. You know what I mean?
She was actually born in England. Oh, but she moved to Canada when she was like super little. But she also went back to London to study at like the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. So she kind of honestly comes by the accent, but she like is overdoing it to be funny, obviously.
Right, obviously, yes, but I'm saying that accent that she does put on, it's like it's good enough. It's good enough to trick most Americans,
yes,
who don't have an ear for that. But anybody who's actually from England would be like, "Stop it,"
including this waiter who is British, and he's like, "Well, look, not only are you not her, and you have a fake accent, she's from Sussex, and so am I." And she's like, "Oh, well, I've traveled around. My accent's actually from India," which is like so weird. What a weird detail to pull out to add to your fake story.
And listen, she was considered to the bit. As a I appreciate it. She was like, "I'm not going down. I'm not going to lose this battle. I'll do this with you all day. Let's go."
Yeah. You want to drop some more Britishisms on me, bro? I know everyone you're talking about. Let's go. Let's go.
Ready to go. She was so ready to go.
But meanwhile, the other 3 have like slinked away while she's dealing with it. They like totally leave her hanging, but I don't blame them. I'd be like, we gotta go.
No. Listen, at that point, you kind of had to because listen, y'all. I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, you were all going to they were all going to get kicked out. So like, it doesn't matter.
Why not do it with a little dignity where you walk out on your own rather than being escorted out?
Yeah, because that's even more embarrassing.
That's even worse. Yeah. So that's kind of the end of Samantha and the pool and her story. It's just a goofy little side story, really. But it does well. I mean, it brings them together for the stuff with Stanford. And vibes on the high school thing because they're all like laying poolside. Like Charlotte has like little like pigtail buns in her hair, looking very like childlike. While they're doing all that. So yeah. Who did we want to try next? Did we want to do kind of the Stanford stuff or Miranda or Carrie?
That is a great question. I think we should do the Stanford stuff.
Yeah. So Stanford kind of gets his own little plot line.
Yep.
Hi, Stanford. Haven't seen you in a while. It's been a while. So he's actually at one of the trendy cafeteria themed restaurant, which we've actually seen before way back in the other kind of teenager high school themed episode that had like baby Kat Dennings in it when it was like her bat mitzvah. I know she's
youngest Kat Dennings. She was like what, 13 or 14?
Yeah, she's like literally 13. She's like a child, obviously.
Wow. I forgot about that episode.
Yeah.
She looks so
I know
especially to me because I've only known her as an adult. Like I've never seen her in her younger years of doing so. It's like seeing her just like as a baby all of a sudden was like, whoa.
Yeah.
As well.
So he's at this cafe, but like cafeteria themed restaurants always seem to be a thing. Like there's a place here in the valley called like Public School 818 or something like that, and it's kind of got like,
was that right?
Like notebook themed like menus, and it's not totally cafeteria themed out. It's a little more sports bar, but it's very like school adjacent themed, and it's not bad. And Stanford sees Charlotte with Anthony, and he's like, "Come on, we're gonna go talk to them." And Marcus is like, "Why? You don't like Anthony?" And he's like, "Because you're wearing a tank top."
Okay, so here's my thing. I mean, man, talk about holding a grudge because their whole like beef between them is just because Anthony didn't want Stanford, like he just like rejected like this type, which I kind of get because usually there's most like opposites attract on that. Then in the couples and stuff like that. So like they're clearly too much of the same like sassy-ish kind of person where like they would just be at each other's throats off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but sometimes
it's like he's just so like, dude, it's like you're in a whole new relationship with a guy that loves you, and you're still pissed off at this one guy who you're not like. You don't even want to be with the dude. Why are you so mad? Let it go, baby. It's okay.
People do that shit where they're like, I'm gonna like It's the Mad Men elevator meme that everybody's seen where Don Draper gets in the elevator with I think the Ginsberg is the guy, and Ginsberg's like, I feel sorry for you, and Don goes, I don't think about you. Like it's great. It's great.
That's literally what it is. I mean, that's it. Like, Anthony doesn't anything about Stanford like that. He like literally the only time it probably crosses his mind is when he sees him randomly,
when Stanford comes up to like bust his chops, basically. Or try to.
Try to like, because that's what he was doing. He's like trying to come and flex with his,
his boyfriend. Yeah, it never really works because Anthony just can't be like messed with that way. And so they start chatting, and Stanford's.
It only works in general, like if no matter what the situation, it only works if Anthony was attracted to Stanford, but since he has zero attraction to him, there's nothing for him to be like jealous about in that regard,
Yeah. But Stanford says he's going to the prom. He's on the decoration committee at an LGBTQ center. And Charlotte's like, oh my God, I love prom. I was prom queen. Because of course Charlotte was prom queen. Are we shocked? No.
Yeah. And then two things you find out from Charlotte. She was a prom queen and she was a cheerleader. I was like, yep.
Yeah, obviously.
Yep.
Like, I'd be more shocked if she was like, I was in the like theater department and like,
I was in the band. No,
band, yeah. Sorry, theater. I could kind of see her doing maybe. Band for sure is like the nerdiest thing she could do. Or like
theater. I don't even think she would do that. That's way too.
But I think theater's too like exotic for her, you know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. That's like too much like of putting yourself like out there to be, criticized. I mean, that's not a Charlotte thing.
Yeah, and then Anthony and Stanford have this exchange that I didn't get a chance to research this, and I've always kind of wondered about like how people have felt about it, because Stanford's like, oh, I missed my prom in high school, and Anthony goes, because you were gay, and Stanford says, no, I broke up with my girlfriend because you were gay. And he's like, well, I didn't know I was gay until you were born. Like, Anthony's just like kind of mad dogging him about the, like, Stanford clearly wasn't out necessarily in like high school. And I don't know why Anthony's on his ass about it so much. Maybe it's just Anthony's way of kind of like, you're gonna come to me and like flex to me with your boyfriend and stuff. Well, like, here's how I'm gonna fight back. I've just always wondered if people who are gay have thought that was funny or like mean, but I truly don't know. It's meant to be kind of funny, I think, in like a teasing way, like the sort of notion. Like, well, like, of course. Go ahead. I was just saying the notion of like, of course, Stanford is gay, and why wouldn't he know he was gay? But I was like, I don't know. Sometimes people don't know or like don't really realize it. Yeah.
I think it's also a thing of like, because they've gone through the same thing together. It's like, if you're trying to hear somebody, I guess if you been through it as well, and they're like trying to make themselves out to be like this special victim of this thing. It's like, no, we both went through that. I was also gay in high school. I also probably had a girlfriend, and Anthony probably also had a girlfriend that he in high school he knew he wasn't really into, and other than all the things that Stanford probably went through in high school, Anthony probably did it. And he's a little bit more of a Anthony's definitely more of a
more secure maybe in his himself
like
and
a
everything.
Secure, like outward, like outgoing, like what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but he's just like he's like went through the same things, but he didn't let it affect him the same way that I think Stanford let it affect him. And so I think that was kind of what he was saying. It's like, yeah, we get it. You were gay. You didn't go to prom because you were gay. You didn't. We all went through that. So like, let's move on.
Like, and and whoop-de-doo, you're hosting a prom now. Like,
right. Yeah, kind of like that. I think that's how I perceived it. But again, others watching it may perceive it as a different way. And,
no, I think that's. I mean, I won't speak for anyone's interpretation, and if you have a different one, by all means, let us know. But I think that puts the scene in better perspective for me. But anyway, Stanford is like annoyed with Anthony, so he leaves with Marcus, and Anthony is like, whatever, that guy used to be a prostitute. And Charlotte's like, what? And Anthony's like, I have back issues of something called Honcho.
What a magazine,
Honcho. Great magazine name. I don't know if it's real or not. I didn't Google that, but I hope it's real.
Google it right now. Keep talking.
Yeah. So, and in Honcho magazine, they have ads for male escorts and male prostitutes, and Marcus was in he went by a different name. I think like Peter or something like that, and Anthony's real like, oh, it's real. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. It makes sense why they would name drop it like that if it was real.
It was a real adult gay magazine, and it started I think in 2008. It says.
Well, no, it goes back further.
1979.
Oh yeah, okay.
To 1979 to 1996 it was its run.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Anthony for whatever reason.
That's why he said back issues. Clearly they're not making any because they're not making them. And some people collect that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Old magazines and shit like that.
For sure. Actually, one of my favorite things on TikTok is people who have old like 17 magazine or like or any other like Teen Beat, Tiger Beat, all those like old teen magazines, especially from like my era. and they just go through and flip through them on TikTok. Oh, it's the best. It takes you right back. But Anthony's like, oh, I'll send you the ad. Like, I have literal proof of this. And he does. He sends it to Charlotte, who she brought it to, real quick, the basketball game she went to with Miranda, which is weird. Why?
She just wanted to talk about it. She didn't want to. She didn't want to be the only one with this secret. You know, you know what I mean? That's really what that was. She didn't want to be the only one.
Yeah, it eats at you, and you're like, I gotta tell somebody. Which, and it definitely that comes to a head because at the pool, when they're all hanging out and they're talking about like secrets and relationships and blah blah blah, you know, and the very high school things. And Stanford is like, well, you know, you're in a good relationship when there are no surprises. Marcus and I know everything about each other, and we're happy. And he swims away for a second, and Charlotte's like, not everything. And then she shares the ad with the girls, and Stanford comes back though, and Samantha hides it behind her back. Again, very so high school, as is the theme, if you haven't caught on by now. And he's like, what are you hiding? And they turn it over, and he's like, who got this? And Samantha's like, Carrie gave it to me. Carrie's like, Miranda gave it to me. Miranda is like, Charlotte gave it to me. And Charlotte's like, Anthony gave it to me, but I told him that you and Marcus are so much in love. But poor
here's my thing too.
It's like heartbroken.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but that thing is too is like his. I don't know if this is his entire view on relationships, but the fact that he was like, there's no surprises in like in a perfect relationship is like, no, that's not true. There's always a surprise.
Yeah,
it's always because like I don't know, man. I do think no matter what, there are just some things that you just never tell your significant other. I know there's that. There has to be, like, I don't care if you've been together for 30 plus years or whatever the fuck, like even if you've been together there's probably just some you never let out. And this would probably be one of them, you know what I mean? The fact that I used to be a prostitute, like it's probably one that you never really bring up because we see how it affects the story, you know?
Yeah, because a day or two later, Stanford is talking to Carrie about it, but this is tricky because he's like, you know, he talked to Marcus about it, and he says he stopped doing it in 1992, and he was only doing it for, you know, dance classes because he's like a Broadway dancer and everything. But what's eating at Stanford is that it was a secret, and it's a secret that Marcus didn't tell him or wasn't upfront with him about. And he's like, and I'm even madder that I learned about it from Anthony than, you know, I did Marcus. Of all the people. And it was bad enough though that they broke up. And he's like, and right before the prom, poor Stanford.
I mean, I get it though. Because here's the thing. Like, that is a pretty big secret. And also too, like, here's the only thing I would maybe try, I think that's why maybe things work out, because escort doesn't necessarily mean like you slept with your clients. Like,
we keep saying prostitute, but they also kind of interchange it with escort and like sex worker. And it doesn't necessarily mean he was having constant sex with every person who hired him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can be completely just be an escort and just be eye candy, because that's technically what the job is basic at its basic level is. It's like you being eye candy for somebody while they're out, you know what I'm saying? Or they're showing them a good time, like being like just like a good companion. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sleep with them. It's just that some people who are escorts happen to sleep with some of their clients,
right?
You know, for money or other reasons, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I was like, we should make that distinction just a little bit, because we've kind of been saying prostitute. I think mostly because Anthony calls them that, but like you said, escort does not necessarily mean sex,
right?
But they break up, and at first Carrie isn't able to go to the prom, but then she makes it to the prom with Stanford, and they win prom king and queen. Adorable. Did you?
I'm a little bit surprised that they would win that, considering like where they were and the atmosphere of it, because it was like, yes, it was obviously, you know, they understood that, you know, he's gay and she's straight, and that's like the thing. But you would think in a LGBTQ center, like a more official gay couple would win prom king and queen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess maybe they're just like
heterosexual couple-ish.
a popularity contest, literally. Like Carrie's probably the most like well-known person there. Although one of those drag queens looked really familiar.
You know what? Actually, now that you said that, that actually makes a lot of sense, because that's basically what the whole prom king and queen competition is. It's a popularity contest. So even if it's, you know, like sometimes it's like a mixture of like a boy and a girl who aren't even dating, and they become, you know, prom king and queen just because they were just like the most popular dude and the most popular girl. So that it works actually. It makes sense.
Were you on any like prom courts or homecoming or winter ball or whatever?
No.
I don't know. I don't know your life. I mean, I know your life, but not that well.
I was never because like I was known in high school, but I wasn't popular, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like people knew of me, and I was known by like all the circles, like the goth kids, the punk kids, the fucking skater kid. Like I knew I knew a person in all the cliques. I just wasn't trying to be the most popular person.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't on any of the committees because I like knew a lot of the cliques. I got along with most of them, but there was like definitely like and I had no beef with the more like popular crew, but they were just always kind of like, you know, snide, a little shitty. But I was always but it was usually like I'm like, what's your fucking deal? And like I don't barely talk to you, and what like I didn't get picked on by them, but I was always like, how am I getting along with like the Insane Clown Posse fans way better over here? You know, who we have very little in common, almost nothing in common.
Definitely knew some juggalos.
And I absolutely knew some. I will keep this.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. Like I definitely do. Yeah, and like was cool with them too. Like I never had no issues.
No, a juggalo girl in my gym class actually kind of like had my back. She didn't fight anybody, but like we just got along because we were both kind of like not like the most athletic in the gym class, and you know, and all the like jockey and sportier girls were and guys, and they were a little mean and like made fun and of stuff, and she was like always kind of like fuck them, and I was like yeah, fuck them. And we had like a weird like, we know we're never gonna hang out beyond this gym class, but like here and now for like this semester, I got you, man. And she was like, I got you too. And I was like, all right, we're buds. And then in my economics class, like my freshman year, I missed the day where they assigned groups for this big kind of ongoing game that the teacher designed that was kind of like a big like a risk-esque game, like you had to get resources and you could build up your country and all this, that, and the other thing. And the people I thought I was friendlier with in the class, I missed the day they picked groups, and they're like, oh, we already picked our group and we can't fit any more people. And I was like, oh man, so I got stuck with the juggalos. And so it broke down that they wanted to be like president, vice president, and they're like, and I had to be like treasurer of the team, but that was fine. I ran a puppet government where I was in charge and made all the decisions because I was obviously the only one paying attention in class and trying. And this is so funny though. I let them, they wanted to design the flag and they drew some like Insane Clown Posse like juggalo thing. So that was our fucking ridiculous flag. You know, everybody else had like whatever, and we had this like terrified fucking clown up there. But it worked. And because they only saw the juggalo guys and then me, and we just kind of got ignored. So the way you earned resources for your country was by answering study questions in like a Jeopardy type format. And obviously I raked in all these points and stuff to turn in. So I like quietly amassed like this vast wealth of resources in the game that nobody else was paying attention to because it ran across several classes. But all the other countries were fighting among themselves. They all knew each other better, and they were doing, and like we were just quietly becoming the richest country in the whole game. And I would kind of explain that to the guys, and they're like, "That's cool." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "We got all this iron ore, and we're gonna fucking rock their worlds. We could build a warship if you want." And they're like, "Yeah, I authorize that." I'm like, "You got it. I'll let me run this." It was just like a really nice understanding. And then eventually, though, another team did catch on with like how much like wheat and iron we had, and fucking attacked us and blew all our shit up and stole it, which was a bummer. Oh. But I had to like explain that to the guys. I was like, hey, I have bad news. We were attacked and all our resources are gone. And they were like, Damn, I was like, I know. I was like, we had a really good run as a country, though. I just want to be clear that this insane clown posse country really
basically your country was like the ants in A Bug's Life, and then somebody came along and they were the grasshoppers and just took it all.
Just took our shit, yeah. Now I was the only one from the team who got to go to the pizza party because I had the highest points in the class. So I finally met like the people who blew us up because they like
fucking pizza party. Jesus Christ! Tell me it's a story about school without saying it's a story about
pizza
school.
party.
Fucking that's pizza party.
You know, that's the only thing missing from this episode was there was no pizza party for anything.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
that's the only thing missing from this episode. But anyway, enough juggalos. Back to the prom. They
well, that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Well, no, we forgot Stanford and Marcus make up at the prom. Marcus comes to the prom and apologizes, and he's, you know, it was part of my past, and Carrie kind of removes herself from the situation because like she's kind of sandwiched between them for a second. And Stanford is like, all right, you know, I kind of forgive you, but did you ever sleep with Anthony? And he says no, and Stanford's like, all right, come here.
Listen, I'm not mad at that.
Not mad at all.
Mortal enemy, excuse me. So like, yeah, that's the deal breaker. If you'd like, even if you just went out on a date with him as an S, I would be the end of the relationship.
Yeah,
with him, like that's like the word. That's like the lowest of low. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it.
And then Carrie just kind of chills by the refreshments at prom and talks about, you know, like, well, you know, you may think love or whatever is going to be one way in high school, but at love and anything is possible, especially in New York. So it's kind of a weird tag, but whatever.
Also, she was looking at them very creepily. Like I know it's supposed to be like an adoration, but she had a little psycho look on her. She was like, from the punch bowl, she's just like, That's like, all right. Do you want to eat them or do you want to watch them dance? What's going on in
that? Well, it's that weird psychological thing where you're like, oh my God, it's so cute. I want to eat it and kill it, or kill it and eat it, or whatever. You know.
It only works with pets. That's not the same.
Where you're like, oh my God, it's so cute. I just want to, you know.
Yeah. Maybe babies.
Yeah. Little baby cheeks. Anyway.
Yes, baby cheeks.
Baby cheeks.
Eat them up.
Delicious.
Yes, let's do Miranda's.
So Miranda is home on a Saturday night. Who among us hasn't been there? Oh, I turned off my own video. Whoops.
That's gonna be fun for the viewers who were watching it. Like, what happened? Did Michael do it?
Yeah, I'll clip it out.
They're fine. No, it's fine. It's all good. Leave it in there. Make it raw. Pause.
But yes, Miranda's home on a Saturday night, which is like, oh my God, like the worst when you're in high school, right? Not if you're watching a bunch of cool movies. Just saying.
Because like that was because here's the thing. But I see you got to remember the way we grew up, because we spoke about this, you know, and maybe a couple episodes ago. The way we grew up, a Saturday night or a Friday night wasn't like boring. We wanted to be home on Friday night, right? Because we had like, especially in the 90s, we had like, you know, TGIF to roll to, and then like
Snick.
Yeah, Snick, and then we had Snick, and then we also had Blockbuster, and they probably rented some movies. So like a Saturday night in wasn't necessarily a bum night. Yeah. It was like you get to watch movies, you know. So
and also cool. Like I lived in kind of semi the sticks, so like there's not a lot of places to go.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. That helps.
But Miranda's home and Blair Underwood drops by and he's like, oh, I'm surprised you're home. And she's like, it's motherhood because the baby's down for the night.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking like too, is that he's like, I'm surprised you're home. It's like, you know, she's a mom, right? Like a single mom. You think she's just gonna be out every Saturday? That's not a good mom.
Yeah, like sure, could she get a babysitter? Of course, but like she's like, you can't be going out every Saturday night.
Right.
Gotta spend some time with that baby.
She's gonna be at home. Yeah, more than likely she's gonna be home Saturday night. More than likely.
Anyway, he gives her courtside Knicks tickets, which she kind of thought were for like the two of them. But he hands her both tickets and she is like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, okay, here's my thing. Sure, you can kind of take that as a mixed signal, but it's like, why would the doctor of the Knicks come in with tickets saying that like Like, we're gonna go to the game together. He clearly gets in the games for free, so it's obviously not like, you know, him trying to go on a date with you.
Yeah, he's gonna be working.
Yeah, he'll be working. Yeah, there's no other doctor for the Knicks, so yeah, he's gonna be working for sure. That's kind of like that's why, you know, the fact that she was surprised. I was like, see, you've been lying about the sports shit, because if you knew sports shit, you would know that those tickets aren't for you and him to be on a date. Also, I don't think anybody who, like, most people don't want to take, if they have the night off, don't want to spend the night at their job. Right. You know what I mean? Like, for most people. I mean, depending on what you do, but I don't think the doctor for the Knicks would want to spend, if he had a night off, at the Knicks game.
Like, we laughed. I went with my coworkers to Universal Studios because we had free tickets through our job that had ended at NBC Universal. And so we're riding a bunch of different rides. We're like, I guess we'll go on like the studio backlot tour. Now we've all gotten to walk the backlot, and in fact, like, gotten like lunch, because there's like different cafeteria or restaurant stuff there. So we were in line and we were like, maybe we should try to get to that Transformers ride, because we're like, you know, the magic's kind of gone when you drive past people on the studio tour and you know they're just picking up lunch, and they're not like hustling to like something really cool and creative, like, because, you know, as much as they're like, you might see a celebrity here on the back lot, and you won't, or very rare, like, it very rare. Good luck. But yeah, so Miranda goes to the game with Charlotte, who, for whatever godforsaken reason, brought Marcus's Honcho ad with her to show Miranda. I love Charlotte's like, I'm so sad I know this about Marcus, and Miranda's like, well, maybe let's not talk about this at Madison Square Garden. like they're gonna end up on the Jumbotron. She's gonna be holding like borderline porn in her hands.
Oh, that would devastate Charlotte. She would never recover from that. Never to be on the Jumbotron with gay porn in her hand. Oh my gosh, she would literally kill herself.
My god. That's really funny.
Embarrassment.
But anyway, they get giddy over Robert, over Blair Underwood. I mean, how can you literally not, as we previously discussed? And she's like, these seats are too good for our like interactions to be casual, right? And Charlotte's like, yeah, no, totally. Like, look at it. He's looking at you.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. Like, here's the thing. If I'm the doctor for the Knicks, if I'm trying to impress a girl, I'm definitely giving her courtside seats, because she had courts. She wasn't like in the rafters, or she wasn't even like medium way up. Like, she was on, like, her feet were touching the court that the players also's feet touch. So like, that's me trying to. If I'm a dude doing that, I'm not giving out those kind of tickets to just some random girl. Like, that's like somebody I like, or at least am attracted to, for sure.
Yeah, but it all starts to go awry because the Knicks dancers come out and they're doing their routine, and Charlotte's like, oh, I used to be a cheerleader. Duh. And obviously the dancers are hot and they're dancing, you know, and like, you're really shaking it and everything. And Robert's checking them out. I mean, who among us wasn't checking them out though? Like,
you're really shaking
it. Wait, what did I say?
You said they're really shaking it. That was so. That's like your Midwest mom comes out. They're really shaking it.
They're really shaking. They're really shaking.
They're cutting the rug.
Their tushes out there. They really were dancing their little buns off out there. Oh yeah. You know what I like about their outfits though? They're not skimpy. They were wearing pants, and their tops were mostly covering stuff. Very respectable. Really like that. But
that was a very conservative cheerleading uniform. Were they more conservative back then, I guess?
Maybe.
Do you think maybe? Or maybe just for the show?
Because I feel like the last time I saw the dance, like, I don't watch sports obviously, but like the last time I saw like the Knicks dancers was in the Trainwreck movie with Amy Schumer, where she like did the routine, and they were in like little like cheerleader type skirts, which were much shorter.
Right.
I'm assuming the uniforms routinely change. And I also, when I think of like professional cheerleaders, I'm thinking like Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders with like the hot pants. And,
definitely those uniforms are definitely not conservative at all, for sure. Yeah. I went to high school with a girl that was in a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, she became one for like, I think, 2 years, and then she was done. I don't think she did.
They get paid like garbage, from what I understand. Like it's not actually that great a like thing. Yeah, it's like a cool thing to do.
Like that. Yeah, well, it gets you. Here's the thing: what it can, because it opens up the door for publicity. So if you're like trying to start a business or something like that, you know, being like a ring girl or being a cheerleader for like a sports team gets eyes on you. You can build, you know, you build off social media off that and things of that nature. So it does help if you have other goals. But if that's your main job, yeah, it ain't gonna work. You ain't living off of it. I tell you that.
No. So he's all, you know, distracted, and there's like one blonde dancer in particular who's like really flirty with it, like sticking her tongue out and everything, and he's like into it, you know. Again, he's only human. I mean,
he's a dude. He's a dude. A single dude. Of course, you know, if a pretty girl is flirting with you, you know, you appreciate it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you necessarily gonna pursue the girl. Just, you know, like we like attention too, just like any girl does.
Everybody likes a little attention. It's only human.
A little bit. Stroke the ego a little bit. Does it hurt?
Yeah, be like, oh, look at me.
Dabble on the tongue.
Yeah, little nibble. And Miranda and Charlotte though are noticing the like interaction, and they're like, she looks pretty young too. And Miranda's jealous of a cheater. Cheater. Well, cheerleader.
She's
malfunction. The game ends and they're waiting around for him, but he's talking to the cheerleader, and Charlotte's like literally cheering Miranda on to like go flirt. But then she kind of stalls out when she sees him hug the cheerleader, and then she's like, we're leaving. She like just totally throws in the towel.
That's the thing that was like, dude, you know, because you know, Charlotte did kind of give her the perfect reason to go over there and thank him for the tickets. You know what I mean? Like,
easy.
You want the guy, because here's the thing. That's the thing too, is like I really noticed that like women will do that to themselves, like talk themselves out of it because like they don't want to compete. But it's like, this is the dating world. You have to compete. Just because you don't want to do it, you have to do it. So like, I mean, obviously it. You know, we know what happens with this whole situation, so it kind of works out in her favor. But like in most cases, you know, if you don't kind of like stake your claim or like put yourself out there and let people know that you're into them, they're gonna miss the signals. You know?
I had to kind of tell another girl that I kind of liked somebody, you know, like and she was kind of like, hey, cool, we were super hammered, so she was sort of like, oh yeah, I got you, like, you know, like. Wasn't like gonna necessarily like fully back off, but sort of just be like, got it, like, okay. But I was like glad I said something, and because I feel like years ago I would have been like, no, he's only paying attention to her, but I was like, no, man, a lot of liquid courage in that moment. I was like, no, man, you gotta fucking say something.
Liquid courage or natural born courage. You just gotta. The dating game is a competition.
Yeah,
it's a fucking battlefield. All right, you got to get out there, and you know what I'm saying. If you ain't slinging no lead, you're gonna get got.
I love it. But a few days after the game, Miranda bumps into Robert at the lockers. Oh wait, I'm sorry, it's their mailboxes. I'm so glad you made the locker comparison earlier.
Yeah, dude, it looked because it was like a high school hallway too, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The way that those, you know, you can definitely tell those mailboxes because there's no corner cutting like in the locker room. You know what I mean?
and he's like, hey, I missed you after the game, and she's like, oh, well, you were talking to the cheerleader. And she literally goes like, do you like her? And he's like, no, I
like. That was very high school. Like you guys like a thing or
like
what's going on? You know?
And he's like, no, I like someone else, you. And she's like, well, how was I supposed to know that? And yeah, part of me is like, the fucking courtside Knicks tickets, but whatever.
Right, because like that's the thing too. Like you would have to think that he is a complete like sociopath to invite you to the game where he's working to watch him flirt with another girl in front of you. Like, because remember at the game he saw her there. Like they recognize each other. He shot her a little like, you know, heads up, a little wink and a nod. Like there was like some flirty energy coming from him during the game. So he knew you were there. So why would he then just flirt with some other girl just to like again, now here's the thing. The only reason I could understand that because, you know, this episode was high school themed and a high school dude would do that to like, I don't know, like make himself seem more desirable, you know what I mean? Like,
or
with
just
spark that jealousy in her, you know? But it's like, he's an adult. He's
or
not
high school boys
it,
are just dense too, where they're like, oh, I thought she'd like it, but like I didn't think about like, you know, it affecting her because I'm, you know,
yeah,
16
but even
and I
high
got
school boys aren't. No, but even high school boys aren't gonna, if they don't like a girl, they're not gonna to be in their energy. Because here's the thing: if that girl, if they feel any kind of way that this girl likes them, like, because we know we're not that stupid. We know when a girl likes us and we don't like them. Like, I knew that shit in high school. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna invite you into my space and have you fuck up my game with other girls. Like, I'm not gonna flirt with other girls in front of you unless like, the only way I can see a guy doing that, even in especially in high school, is if like there's a girl that likes you, you know she likes you, but you told her I don't like you that way, and she still is pursuing. Then maybe I could understand you like flirting with another girl in front of her to kind of show her that this ain't a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe, but again, that's
it's
like
a long
extreme,
way to go.
Yeah, it's extreme circumstances in that regard.
And so they start making out though in the right there in the hallway. Because he's like, here,
go to class.
Yeah,
no one wants to see that.
And they do get interrupted by like an old lady neighbor.
Yeah, it was the she. I think she was another one of the people on the board, right?
Yeah, probably.
On the housing board. Yeah, I think that was her.
But
she was that was she was the one that was saying, you know, because he's single, he's gonna have single party. Yeah, that was her. So of all people to see that, you know, I'm sure she was like, oh shit, not this one.
But don't worry, they as the episode constantly says, go all the way later that like same day. Round home base, if you will. Get the puck in the net. I don't know. That doesn't feel like one. Is that one? I don't think people say that.
Yeah, I find this interesting because I definitely, again, I think this is like because of not last episode, but the one before that. I think, you know, when she put on the skinny pants, you know what I mean? The skinny jeans, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's definitely opened her world. That's why I never really put too much stock in the idea that she was, you know, into Steve. Because I think that it was just that's all she, you know, that's the only guy that she was interacting with. So it was like, by proxy, you know, you being single and you want to be with somebody, you kind of maybe those like a superficial obsession might form. You know, and I think that's what it was.
No, and that's Robert and Miranda. That's their thing. So on to
probably also doesn't hurt that, you know, he's just extremely handsome and like Steve could never compete with it.
Sorry,
it's a little, you know what I mean? Like, easy to forget Steve when that guy walks in the room. You know what I mean?
Like that's the funny thing about like the show Outlander. So like she travels back in time and like falls in love with the Scottish guy and everything, but she's married in like the present day, and like her husband is not bad looking, but I'm sorry, he's got nothing on like the hot Scottish dude she like marries in the past. And I'm like, and they keep going like, oh, she's so conflicted. I'd be like, oh, I'm married? Who's married? Not me. Hi.
Like, fuck this. I ain't trying to go back to the present. I'm trying to stay in the past. Fuck it. You know? I'll be, you know, Scottish queen.
Ring? What's this? Who had a ring? Not me.
Fucking launches that bitch into a fucking ancient river in Scotland. Like, yeah, it's gone. See you later. Never to be found again. Nope. Never to be found again.
Some archaeologist finds it later and they're like, huh, weird, but
yeah, oh, that would fuck up. That would be his thing, because it'd be a modern ring found, you know what I'm saying? The old modern ring. They were like, where did this come from? Did somebody travel from the future to the past? Like, oh man, that fuck up some historian somewhere.
Yeah. But speaking of history, it's a subject in high school, and Carrie meets her high school sweetheart at a bar. And he's played by David Duchovny of X-Files fame. I've never thought he was hot. Sorry.
I never got it either.
He's so bland, like, and monotone to me when he speaks.
Yeah. You know
like,
what I think
objectively, like, is he a good looking person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. You know what I think it is? I think honestly, okay, this is my personal theory. When women think he's so hot, I think it's the hair. He has great hair. Like he's always had a nice, full, silky head of hair. I mean, even to this day, still right now has like a nice set of just good silky hair, and like you don't get jeans like that all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But and then like I've it's funny. I liked the X-Files when I was younger, for sure, like way into it. But like somehow I didn't really like her either. Like I wasn't that into, because they both talk all the episodes like this when they're delivering information, and everything is super monotone.
Yeah.
And there's the conspiracy, this and the da 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 da. I liked the cases and like the stories they solved. I liked the monster of the week stuff. Hated the alien, like the alien conspiracy. Like I stopped caring that Mulder's sister had been kidnapped like forever and a day ago. I still don't care. Did they ever find her? I don't give a fuck. It's been like 20 years. I have no idea, and I don't care. I really, really, truly just liked the little like one-off episodes of like, solving the mystery there. That was all fine, well and good. But like, yeah, for the most part, they, like I said, they mostly they both talk in such a flat, weird affect that I'm like kind of baffled how people are so into it in terms of like them being amazing performers. Sorry.
I don't remember watching X-Files that much as a kid. Like I don't really remember watching. My experience with David Duchovny is Californication.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he plays like the tortured writer artist that's like apparently sexy to women all over as well.
Isn't he like a sex addict in the show or something like that?
He could be classified as that, but they never like actually diagnose him with that.
Okay.
Actually, so the guy who's playing is actually in California.
Yeah, I was gonna say Harry is also on Californication.
Yeah, he plays his agent in that show, and he actually goes to counseling for sex addiction. Actually, in the show. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, but he plays Carrie's high school sweetheart.
Yes. Question.
Jeremy.
Now, let me ask you.
I'm just gonna call him Mulder the whole episode.
That's fine. Let's get that. Let me ask you this: have you ever reconnected with somebody from your past, like high school past, like a hangout, or a drink, or a date, or anything like that?
No, so many of us like went like way separate ways, and not like in a negative way, but just like, and also like I had like a crush on like kind of two different guys, and like so nerdy, but like my quiz bowl group, and I think they kind of knew, but they didn't like me that way, and so like it's sort of like when it was time to part ways, it was sort of like bye. We went to different colleges and stuff. I think one of them got married kind of real quick though in college, which surprised me because he was seemed so much more liberal, and it's not that he's conservative now or anything like that, but it was just sort of like surprising to me that all things considered he'd get married that young, but he did, I think. And in fact, actually there's a high school reunion, a 20-year being planned for next like May, I think, in my hometown area. And so like it's being done over Facebook, so it's not even like a formal thing through like my school. But it's really, really, really funny on the group, because there are a couple of people who kind of like took up the organizing of it, and more power to them, and they've been doing great from what I can tell. Like I have zero interest in being involved, but they were sort of like, hey, I think I've talked about Kensington Metro Park before, and it has like the farm area and nature trails and picnic areas and stuff. And so they were saying like, oh, let's do like kind of a picnic, like almost like a Memorial Day type barbecue outdoor thing, sometime in May, and families can come, all that kind of stuff, because a good handful of people are relatively local, maybe not right in the same town, but like not that far away. But no, there's like a whole other contingent that's like, we want to get fucking wrecked at this high school reunion and party. Yes. And we fuck your sweet little like picnic barbecue. We want to go to this like it's like a sports bar nearby, just like a whatever place, but they're like, we're gonna go there and like get wrecked at it, or like maybe somewhere like more in to like a city area. And so of course the normal people organizing it were like, what if we just do a Google form and kind of get the vibe? And then some chick who I don't even remember this girl at all was like, so and so, I think we all know so and so's made a pretty good name and money for himself. So I think he can bankroll, a really killer party. And I had to text my friend. I was like, who is, I don't want to put his name on here, so I won't. But I was like, who is so and so? What does he do that he can theoretically bankroll this fucking party? And she was like, oh, he works for UFC as a framer. And it took me a minute because I was like, oh, like he like was a framer of like the UFC like organization. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty legit. Like if he was in it from the start, like a framer of the Constitution is what I was thinking for a second. And then I realized she meant like a construction framer, and he apparently like works on the stages and stuff for like the traveling like UFC competitions.
I see, yeah.
And I was like, that's no less like, that's probably decent money and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's like bankroll a whole high school reunion money. And also, he did not volunteer, as far as I could tell. That girl volunteered him. And I think
but it sounds like the plan was to like maybe ask him and then hope.
Yeah, but no, that girl just like full on said like, oh, he's gonna take care of it. And I was like, does he know he's taking care of this? Like, what's happening? So there's been like this crazy divide in the high school reunion like Facebook group of people who are like, hey, can we just do like kind of a chill, like casual picnicky type thing? And other people are like, I gotta get away from my family. I want to get fucking wrecked. Like we're like out of high school. I'm like, I don't know what kind of high school you think we went to, that like we're not money TV high school people. Like the best, even myself all the way out here in California, best I could do if I went would be like, yeah, I'm only going to the picnic. Like I do not have I don't want to spend the money on like a major night out. But that's all of it's moot because I have no intention of going.
She's like, I say all that to say this.
I say all that lengthy story to say this. I have no intention of going. Because I keep in touch with like the couple people I want to, and that's about it. And then no one else has really reached out in any way. Like, so, if they're not interested in chatting, why would I be? What about you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've reconnected with some like crushes and stuff like that before, but like that was because I think, and it's like not like too crazy because like a lot of people from my high school didn't really like leave Texas, and most of the ones that even did kind of came back. Like they only went for like really like college and then kind of came back, and so it's kind of easy to do that. And when I got back from I was like, I lived in Texas for like 5 years along with other people that stayed there. So it was like, it's not as extreme, not as like cool as, kind of how Carrie's situation is. But yeah, I reconnected with a couple of people like that, like former flames, ex, crushes that I had back in the day, shit like that. But I didn't do what she did with them because most of them had kids and I'm good.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm trying to be with somebody that already got like 3 kids. What you say?
Yeah, Carrie's into him. He is near New York because he's spending a month in Connecticut, or so he says.
Yes.
And he's like semi-recently divorced, like it's a couple years. And he's like, oh, I'm surprised you're not seeing anyone. And they're all flirty and they like stay and have dinner. And he's walking her home. And she's like, so what are you doing in Connecticut exactly? He's like, I'm just kind of taking a break. He's a little burned out apparently. And they get to her stoop and he's like, I want to kiss you. And she's like, well, it's not really a first date because we dated in high school. Haha. And they kiss. She even puts her purse down to kiss him. So, he says like, oh, you mean business, which is pretty funny actually.
Yeah, she really did.
And so Carrie's at brunch with the girls, and she's like telling them about the high school boyfriend. Charlotte is so hyped. She's like,
oh, she can't wait.
This is you're gonna get back with your.
I cannot be the only one married. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait.
Because like she's talking about like kissing him again, and Charlotte's like, "You're gonna marry him," like in high school. You're like, "You're gonna marry him."
Dude, I got a friend like that too. He's a dude. Like every time I've I haven't seen him in a while. Like, but like I've introduced 2 girlfriends to him, and these are like girls that just started. I just started dating like 2 weeks or like a couple of months, and every time like he's met them, he's like, "Oh my god, you guys are so gonna get married." I'm like, "Yo, chill, bro. Like, did you not scare this person?" I mean, like, I think that's kind of scared the girls off. Like, he's already talking like that. It's like, I ain't talking like this way. That's him saying it. That's not what I'm thinking. Like, we just started this, relax. But yeah, he would always say that in front of him. I'm like, yo, can you chill, my guy? Like, easy.
And Carrie's like, what if the guy I had in high school was the one I was supposed to be with all along? What have I been doing? And wouldn't it be great if I like reconnect with him? And she's like, especially since I dumped him to see if there was something better out there, and it turns out there wasn't. Ha ha ha. Whatever.
That, you know what? That's a great question though, because I often, sometimes, not often, but there's definitely times where I feel like maybe I met the person that I was supposed to be with a long time ago, and then like, it was like, wrong place, wrong time, or what. And so yeah, that would kind of fuck you up, because it was like, oh, if you had the perfect person for you back then, and you basically just wasted 10 years of your life, 15 years of life, whatever, like chasing other shit. It's like, fuck, what else am I feeling wrong about? You know what I mean? It make you go back into all kinds of shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think because I didn't really have a boyfriend in high school, I don't have that kind of like feeling. And I knew my college boyfriend wasn't right for me because like he was like wanting to like stay in town, like take over a family business, and I was like, bro, I'm like trying to go to California.
Right.
Like, so I had different experiences with that. But of course, if I had had more of that, I'm sure I'd like feel similarly. Or I've definitely had like, even like past situations where I've been like, man, I kind of really thought like, even though it wasn't like a formal thing, like, I kind of thought, but you gotta keep it moving, because you can't, pretend that the past is a thing. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got
so you. She invites him over to watch a movie, which is code for make out in high school, and it still is, haha, because they're totally making out. And he stops though, because he's like, oh, I got a train to catch, and she's like, well, we could go, all the way. And he's like, but I need to be honest with you, which is never good to hear. He's like, I'm not just like staying in Connecticut and taking time off. I'm actually in like a mental institution. And the show is so shitty about it, I have to say. Like,
you think? Oh,
yeah, they're just making so many jokes and like, comparing it to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and calling him names, calling those kind of places names. It's not good. It's bad.
Agreed. Yeah, that's fair. I forgot about all the many jokes that were made on the behalf of that. So yeah. That's fair.
Because Carrie's explaining it at the pool, and she's like, he explained it's not really like a mental institution so much as like a rest, kind of relaxation thing. And Samantha's like,
it's kind of like a weekend spa more.
Yeah.
The way he described it at this point is like that.
And Samantha's like, oh, I know that place. Some of my clients go there. And they're like, oh, who? And she's like, I'm good at my job, so you'll never know.
Right. Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
I just
like, I'm not, who's fucking crazy in this town.
Come on. And Miranda's like, oh, everything, could be, all this dating stuff is so humiliating. She's like, I'm 38 and competing with a cheerleader, which turns out to not be true. And Carrie's like, well, there could still be, fun and surprises. And that's when we get the Stanford moment.
Yes.
So he, like another day or so later, David Duchovny Mulder comes back to Carrie's with marbles. He's like, oh, if I lose any more, you'll have the... It just makes me think of Hook. What's this?
Yes, I did too.
It's a Toodle.
I did too. I 100% thought of Hook. Anytime, especially in the bag that the marbles were in, I was like, come on, dude. Come on. That's Hook all the way. Anytime I see a bag of marbles that looks like that, I immediately think of Hook, because that's like, it was like a leather velvet,
bag, like a nice bag.
The drawstring kind of, closing to it. It's like, anytime I see that, that's just Hook, baby.
Yeah. And
that's funny.
but he's like, I know, what I kind of told you, threw you for a loop, and I'm still not quite sure what I'm doing with it. He's like, but if you saw it, it's not a quote unquote loony bin, which is not nice to say. It's like a place that even has Pilates and kind of, I mean, if you could take a month-long vacation and like kind of like unplug from shit and stuff like that, I wouldn't turn it down.
Yeah, and he was also saying too, it wasn't like he was forced to go.
Oh no, he volunteered. Yeah.
Yeah, he volunteered to go in there because he needed the break. So it was like it is a little bit different than compared as opposed to like being taken there.
Yeah.
And made to be.
And he also is like, he's like, I'm doing soul searching and stuff like that. And he's like, I figured I could either do 5 years of therapy or kind of like one intense month. Why not do the intense month? And Carrie kind of is like, all right, I kind of see what you're saying. And they end up kissing and quote unquote going all the way. Again.
Right.
Or for the first time, actually, because they did not formally hook up in high school.
In high school. That's right.
So she ends up visiting him at the as she puts it, the asylum. I don't think you're supposed to call it that.
Yeah, I don't like that they kept referring to it as an asylum because it really wasn't an asylum.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was at the end of the day, it was more like a weekend resort or a retreat, if you will.
A retreat, yeah. Because they keep, I totally forgot to write down the name. They kept comparing it to something called like Canyon Ranch, I think, or something like that. Which I don't know what that is, but yeah, it's sort of like if you think of it as a resort retreat kind of thing is how he's describing it. Now she gets there and it's a really nice like grounds and building and stuff like that. But like she signs in, there's still like, the electronic like door buzzer things, and he has to like be buzzed out to go say hi to her. But I don't think that's that wild. I mean, I guess it is, but I feel like, retirement communities even have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they do have some patients in there that probably that they don't want, randomly rolling out, because we do see one later. There's a guy running around the fields yelling feces. So, it's probably one of the ones that you don't really want to, just easy access in and out kind of thing. Probably want to keep him a little bit under wraps.
But they like have a picnic and stuff, and they're having a pretty good time. But actually, like, that's exactly the mood kind of gets killed by the guy running around yelling feces. He gets like tackled by a pair of orderlies.
Yeah.
And David Duchovny admits, he's like, all right, this is kind of a full-on psychiatric facility. And she's like, well, you're the sanest person here, haha. And he's like, maybe it wasn't a good idea to try to start something, but right now, but yeah, I really questionable move. But it kind of explains the next piece of information he drops when he's like, maybe when I'm out in 8 to 10 months. And she's like, a big pardon, because he originally said a month, but the doctors apparently recommended like a longer stay. And he's like, I kind of like that everybody here is sort of just out in the open with their quote unquote craziness. And he's like, I understand if you kind of want to not continue the relationship. And she's like, it's the sanest breakup I've ever had.
I mean, for Carrie, sadly that is.
Yeah, for her. Saner than the Post-it note. Like, this guy is having, this guy's like going through it, and he knows it, and he's having a hard time, like so much so that he's like, I need to literally put a pause on life and like go get help at a facility. And he's still more upfront with her than Berger was in the breakup. That's bad. That's so bad.
It kind of, it kind of reflects on Carrie. It's like, it's kind of a sign of like the guys that she picks. It's like, what did that tell you? The way that she's picking guys, that she couldn't see those kind of red flags. Ugh.
Yeah, because Stanford even teases her like, are you kind of sure you want to date someone who's kind of going through this sort of thing and is in, a literal, is in an institution by his own choice, but still going through it.
Okay, but here's the thing though. I'm gonna give a little bit of credit to Carrie in the sense of, because like the way he described the facility, he didn't describe it as intense as it actually was.
Yeah,
he basically made it seem like it was a retreat and that he was choosing to go for and like having some time off. And then when she got there, she kind of saw the real business of it. So in a sense, she was a little bit still caught off guard with, because he wasn't giving her full details. He was like, every time he talked about it, it was just like a little bit of more information.
Yeah, but that's sort of the end of their thing. Carrie, leaves kind of earlier, I think, than planned, but makes it to the prom in time for Stanford. So they have a good time there, and that's
you know what?
this
And I
week's
gotta get
episode.
her. She's been a good. I mean, this season she's been a really good friend. As compared to like, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like finally, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I'm still gonna give her credit where it's due. Like she's been a pretty decent friend to everybody so far this season. Like in this season, her character arc, I can understand a little bit why people were like they want to be a Carrie because she's way better in this season than she has been in the past.
Yeah, this is definitely Carrie at her most likable because she's still doing like kind of flighty things, but not like in ways that are like impacting her friends. Like she's talking to them about her boyfriend, but not like necessarily like the way she did about Big or Aiden, where it was like all me. She's
don't give a fuck about what you're gonna talk about, more about me, kind of. No, definitely not that this season.
Yeah, and like she even just to compare, like, so you think about Charlotte's wedding to Trey, Carrie like literally breaks up with Aiden that day and is like crying at the wedding, during photos about it and stuff like that. That's Charlotte's day. Now, Carrie has like the awkward situation with the guy, disliking her, but Carrie's not doing anything to pull that attention to herself about it. And even Charlotte was like rooting for her to get with the guy, so it's not like Carrie was trying to draw any attention to herself with that situation.
Right.
She just happened to be the focus of this nutty guy's like ire.
Whatever it is,
yeah.
So yeah, that's all I gotta give her credit where credit's due. Like so far this season, she's been like very supportive of everybody. Like she's actually listening to their problems and trying to help them solve them and stuff like that, or at least just like listen and be there for them. So it's took her a while, but she's slowly figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the episode. You can find us, the show, most easily on Instagram at Show Me What Podcast, all lowercase, and that'll take you to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, where you should remember to like and subscribe, please, and comment to do all those fun things that help us on the algorithm.
Yeah.
And you can find me on most social media at Elizabeth Movies. And where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on all social media at Christopher T. Mack, on all social media at Christopher T. Mack. You can see it on the screen if you're watching, and if you're listening, just, use your judgment.
Yeah. And as always, Arlo Australia candles, 10% off, promo code ShowMeMiss. We've recording this in the past, but this is the middle of January.
Still December.
Still candle. It's
probably season. Post Christmas. Yes, but I think this is going to be post Christmas, right?
This episode. Yeah, this is going to be post Christmas, but it'll still be candle season.
Yes, it'll still be candle season. Here's the thing, chilly. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the time to buy the presents for people that you don't really, 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 really fuck with, but like you still think are kind of cool, and you kind of feel obligated to buy them a gift. So why don't you go ahead and buy them a candle? They're beautiful, they're amazing, they smell good, and they're not too pricey, and they last a long time.
And so my birthday, in fact, is coming up, so buy me a
Send us our own product.
Send us our own product.
That'd be hilarious, dude.
That'd be really funny.
Oh man. Yeah.
But that's it, and we'll see you next week.